Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. This is Martine Mayas, and we're here for the Martine Show, 8 p.m. EST tonight. For those of you who don't know, we come here every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST to celebrate people. This is our way of showing that we care and we're here for you. So tonight we're going to have Miss Nicole Leary, first-time author, coming to speak to us. She's actually in the waiting room right now waiting on us. So yes, this is what we do here. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays, we celebrate people on who they are and what they have to offer. Okay? So, Miss Nicole Leary is going to connect with us right now. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you doing?
I'm great. How are
I'm
you?
doing fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to have you on. As I was telling everyone, the Martine Show comes on every Tuesdays and Thursdays on Instagram Live right here at author Martine Mayas handle, and is specific to celebrate people. We're here to show people that we care, and it's all about showing people not only that we care, but we are also here to encourage as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when it was my time as an author. Um, there were people there and they were people who were totally absent. But when you have somebody who taps on your shoulder to say that, hey, let me interview you or let me
I know
highlight you, it's a whole different ball game. So
it
I'm
is.
so happy for you to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to
Awesome. Beautiful to connect with you.
thank
And I
you.
believe that you are an author with Rising Crown Glory,
That's correct.
Rising Crown of Glory
Mm-hmm.
under Shaquan Hope.
That's correct.
Absolutely. And you're a first time author, is that correct?
That's correct.
And a first time best selling author.
That's amazing to me. My mind, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. So I'm excited though.
Take your time. Take your
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just reminds me when it was my time. The first book I participated in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
it went as a bestseller as well on Amazon. And I remember that it took me a little bit to recognize like what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
after it happened. So I'm going to tell you to just take your time,
Yeah.
embrace it every now and then. And sure enough, it will fit. Trust me when I tell you, it will
Okay.
fit. Okay.
Okay.
So on that note, I want you to take the time to introduce yourself. Let everybody know because we want to make sure that you are totally comfortable with everything, you
Okay.
know. So go ahead and introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and then the conversation will flow.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Nicole Leary. Most people know me by Nicole Roche. Um, I've been living in New York for about 18 years. I've done so many different things, from working in the financial district to going to audio engineering school to,
Mhm.
doing hair and becoming an esthetician. So there's lots of stories to tell. And, it's been a fantastic ride. Everybody knows, if you know anything about New York City, you're going to learn some things. And so, that's kind of what I'm sharing. I'm sharing, hey, I've been here, I've gone through some stuff. Let me, share these stories with you, especially during this time right now, and see if we can, find some common ground and help one another out.
Well, I'm so happy that New York is in the house. We're
Yeah.
both from New York. And like you said, New York has a lot of intricate parts of it, many different turns and ups and downs, but we get grounded, we're
Absolutely.
grounded.
Mm-hmm.
We find our route. So that's awesome. So now let us know of your story in Rising Crown of Glory.
Okay.
What is it exactly that you're sharing?
Well, there's quite a few, I think, ideas that are in the story. The main idea is that we've all suffered a great amount of loss. And so I'm
Mm.
really speaking to the anniversary of the loss. And so, you know, in March, everyone was kind of talking about, hey, it's the anniversary when we lost our, you know, they kind of celebrated it like it was something funny. But actually, you know, April and May were the months that people really, really lost a lot of loved ones. They lost their jobs, they lost their way of life, they lost all of these things. And in this loss, nobody is thinking about the mourning process, the grieving process. And I talk to women every day doing hair and different things like that. And so as people are coming in and talking to me, they're sharing with me like, you know, I don't feel so great right now. I don't feel so, and you're there in the salon trying to kind of work it out. And so I decided, you know what, let me speak to something that I know. And that is, I know women. And I know what we go through. And so, you know, I just thought it was important to kind of expose some of the hardships that I've gone through, because nobody really resonates with a perfect story, you know. You want to
Mm-hmm.
hear, you know, you want to hear the gritty details. And so I kind of go through that and kind of tell, hey, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of mistakes that I made, but look, if you believe in God, you keep holding on, you be steadfast, you're going to make it. You'll get whatever reward God has for you. And you don't have to really worry about anything. Just keep walking in faith. And so that's the main point of my story.
Awesome. I love it. And a lot of it revolves around healing as well. Because
That's
when you're talking about grief, you know, before we could actually get to the whole healing process, we have to do the shadow work. We have to face exactly what the problem is.
absolutely.
You know, we have to identify it before we could actually get to a possible solution as to how to handle it. You know, so how are you doing with that?
Well, the thing about writing with Shaquan, and you know, this was a very interesting process, because I think when you go into the process with her, you're thinking, oh yeah, I have a story to tell. And then the process starts, and whatever story you think you have to tell, God's going to take it just a little bit deeper so that you can just get a lot more real about what you're talking about. So that was an eye opener for me. So it was quite the journey. Um, you know, I had a lot of things happen, but it's not necessarily my story, so I can't really tell it. But I had a lot of things happen, and it just tested my character, tested my strength, and I had to fight through that story. So when you read that story, trust me, it was not an easy story to write. There were days that I laid on the couch and got up and wrote and laid back down and ate chips, you know, had a bag of chips on the floor and, you know, laid back down and got back up, you know, listened to music, you know, all kind of things to try to keep you inspired, you know, to try to tell your story. So it's not easy. You know, people right now, they're like, oh, you're best-selling author, best-selling author. And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't easy, you
Trust me,
know.
I know.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate the journey. I appreciate everything that I learned. I appreciate Shaquana and her vision, because it's brought us here
Yes,
to
yes.
share, which is the most important thing.
I love the fact that you shared that the writing part of the story has been actually challenging and transformative for you.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's the thing about authorship. People do not understand that, you know, storytelling has many different versions of it. You know, where we can like say a story, like we're talking and we tell a story. It's a whole different thing when you have to put it pen and paper together, you know.
Absolutely.
And as you're putting pen and paper together, the whole idea is to make sure that it makes sense as
Yeah.
to who's reading it, that they
Right.
get it, number one. Number two is that you really have to work on yourself to release.
Right now, you're getting deep.
Okay. It's a major release of emotions.
Well, you know what's interesting is a lot of times I would write something and then I would say to my daughter, I'd be like, how does this sound? And so I'd be like, hey girl, I wrote something. Let me read it to you real quick. And so she'd go, okay, no problem. So she's listening, and then I get halfway through and be like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even
Yeah.
get through the story because, you know, and then I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, it's one thing to like meditate and think about something and kind of purge, but it's another thing when you write that thing down and then you have to speak those words and speak that pain. that's this. It's not easy. So anyone that wants to be a best-selling author about their own life, I just say, it's a labor of love, but it's not of the faint of heart.
Let me tell you, I participated in 5 anthologies. They all became best-selling books, as well as created my own, which became a best-selling book. And my own became an award-winning book as well. Let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you, in each and every one of those books is a heartfelt story in it
Absolutely.
and a whole lot of release of emotions.
Yeah.
Like the person you start the person you are when you walk into the process is not the person you
No,
end up being at the end of the process.
no, not at all.
Okay, it's it's extremely transformative. I encourage anyone to take the
Yeah.
opportunity to
Yeah.
go through that process and get into authorship. And anthologies is actually one of the easiest ways for you to become an author. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a very good stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good way to learn as well. And one thing I always tell anybody who's an author on my show is that you participated in an anthology. Remember that you're full-fledged author. You're not half an author because you just have like a
Stage
chapter
one
in a
author,
book.
right?
Okay, you are an author. All right, it's the same. It's just as great as having your name on the outside of the book
Yeah.
to have it inside. Okay, and you could cross-reference that book all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's your work is in there.
Yeah. And I think for me,
So
because I'm a hairdresser and I'm always, in people's crowns, which means I'm kind of always in your business, but I always try to be a benevolent in your business person. But
right.
um, so for me, it's important for me when people come get their hair done that they leave with more than just getting your hair done. Like we're a community. And so, just as you being a black woman, I'm a black woman, we know that black people take care of black people. And then sometimes if we
Mhm.
go out there and other people take care of us, that's great too. But, just in terms of like the foundation, we're the ones that care for one another because we're the ones that understand one another. And so for me, it was a chance for me to kind of take the conversation and make it broader, the broader audience, and really try to help people because we're all struggling right now, and we struggle
Mhm.
anyway, but we're very triumphant and resilient people, but we're all kind of going through it right now. And so I just thought it was visionary that Shaquan was like, hey, let's put together this anthology where we get to heal each other. And then I think everybody just kind of like jumped on because their heart felt like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to talk about self-care. And then I think when she spun our heads around, when it was like in one day a bestseller, we was like, oh snaps, this is real. So
Yes, it is.
yeah, so yeah, but then I think that the beautiful part about it, when everybody gets the book and reads it, it's they're gonna realize that, oh wow, this is a loving book. This is a book
Mhm.
that speaks to my soul and my experience. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
really excited about. I'm excited about people saying, "Oh, Nicole, you helped me find my little girl. Oh, you helped me
Yes,
pull the covers off of lies I've been telling myself." Or and those are the things that are important to me. So
that's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. So when you read your chapter, I'm sure
Mhm.
you probably read your chapter in the book already
I am
or
so afraid to
wait
read
for.
this chapter. Oh my goodness.
Why?
Nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking, but I'm ready.
Well, let me tell you, I encourage you to open your book and read your chapter as the reader and not the writer,
Right.
because what will happen is that the position that you will stand in, you will receive it differently.
Right.
And then you could say to yourself, well, now I know the experience of the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get it as the writer,
Right.
whatever you get, whatever experience you get as you being the writer, then becoming the reader, that's what your reader is gonna get. That's what you delivered
Mm-hmm.
automatically, you know.
Well,
So
I
I
have
do
lots of
encourage
poetry
you.
friends. I
I
have lots
encourage
of
you to do
poetry
that.
friends. I'm sure they're gonna be like,
I encourage you to do that though. Because with me, even fairly recently, a lot of my stories, I've taken the time to go back and read them. And now that I'm in a different space, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I receive this very, very differently. Like, it has more an impact now for me
Right.
as opposed to when I wrote it, you
Right.
know. And
Right.
it's very significant to go through that experience.
It is. You know, it's funny because when you're writing about your life, you know, there are other people involved. And so, you know, a lot of times when you're writing about your life, you're dealing with, you know, issues of maybe abandonment and anger. You know, you really aren't writing about the nice stuff. You really are
No,
kind of telling. And so for me, I kind of felt like, how can I tell this story and still be able to go to the family reunion? No.
no, I totally understand. I totally
Yeah.
understand. And you know what? That is that moment of fright for every writer.
Yes.
Every writer. Like, because the abandonment issues, I dealt with that too.
Yeah.
And I had to highlight that as well. That
Right.
was part of my healing process. There was no way in the world that I could have denied it,
Right.
because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's always an eloquent way to
Absolutely.
deliver, you
Absolutely.
know. And you'll be surprised though. You will be surprised. Like, when you follow your pathway, you
Mm-hmm.
follow your heart, you follow your intuition. Um, Lo and behold, they will show you
Uh-huh.
how to address that
Absolutely.
matter, you know.
And you know, believe it or not, I'm going to be honest. In writing this, I actually gained so much compassion for the people that were involved. And in my story, in particular, I'm talking about my parents and I'm talking about my grandmother. Those are the characters that are involved in my story. And then I got a couple of friends here on IG. They're one of them is in there. So I told her the other
Awesome.
day, I was like, "You in there, girl?" So she's on here today. Shout out Maria. Shout out Tammy, all the local women
Welcome
doing their
aboard,
stuff.
everybody in the chat room. Welcome aboard. Thank you for
Yep.
supporting Nicole Leary.
Roy Henderson, Biscuit Rose, Kim. I see all of you guys. I see your comments, so I just want to shout you out. But I forgot what you had just asked me. So what would we talk about?
No, you were saying that you wanted to make sure after the story came out that you'll be able to present
Yeah.
yourself at family reunions and stuff,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
So I more compassionate. It made me see people, you know, be more gentle with them because I realized that, you know, it's kind of, you know, I love my parents, you know, they're amazing people. Don't get me wrong, but we've had a journey. And so I realized that I'm not here to tell their story. I'm here to tell my story. And I don't have to necessarily, and I can actually talk about the wisdom that they've given me and talk about these things without, you know, making them feel bad. So I had my dad read it. So I'm telling you all this. I had my dad read it. And my dad he's a very prolific orator. And so he wrote me back and he said, I'm going to imitate my dad, which is something that I just do naturally. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
He was like, good start, Cole. Good start. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. That means he liked it. I read it to my mom. And I went halfway down the page. I couldn't even finish reading without crying. So she read it on her own.
Um,
She wrote me. She said, "Oh, it's wonderful." So as long as they're okay, I really am not worried about too much anybody else.
yeah.
But I learned a lot about them in this process, and learned about
Hmm.
having compassion for people who sometimes make mistakes, and we all do. I do. I want people to have compassion for me and give me the benefit of the doubt sometimes. So
Absolutely. I love the fact that you highlighted the compassion, because that's real. And one thing we need to remember is that our parents are our parents, and it parenting doesn't come with a book of instructions,
absolutely,
you know. Whether you have kids, you don't have kids, it really doesn't matter.
it doesn't.
You know, it's just like it's trial and error the
It's trial.
whole entire time. Um,
Talk about how
you
you have all these little cute looks when you're a little baby and you're like, oh, I'm such a good parent. I'm a good parent. Yo, my dad has been waiting on me to write this story for about 30 years. Okay. He's waited a long time. Let me tell you, parenting an adult is a special kind of patience. It's a special kind of patience. And so he's been really patient with me. My mom's been really patient with me. So I'm glad that I finally did something they're proud of and that they're like, go girl. But, you know.
Nice. That is really nice. And that's that I can feel that you really feel within yourself like that perfect whole and complete mode right now that you accomplished this piece of writing that just is all over the place now. Like this is it, you know?
2 days, boy, I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's 2 days ago that the book went best-selling on Amazon, right?
Right.
Best-selling book on Amazon.
And it
Okay.
actually comes out on Thursday. So everyone will get their pre-ordered copy. They'll be reading. So I can't wait to go to my inbox and see what folks are saying.
I'm super excited for each and every one of you
Oh,
ladies. How many ladies actually participated in the book?
well, I know that there's 8 writers, and then we had Miss Vera Moore doing the forward. We have
Yeah.
Shaquan with her. I'm not sure if she's doing an intro. Somebody said, I'm nervous for you too, girl. In the comments. But we have Shaquan
Yeah.
doing, I don't know if she's doing a story or intro. I'm not sure. So between the forward, Shaquan, and I think there's 8 of us. And I'm looking forward
Okay.
to reading the ladies' stories. I haven't actually gotten a chance to read their stories yet because we're going to be getting our stuff pretty soon. But
Okay.
I've heard like little inklings on people's posts about what they're writing about. And this book is going to be kind of deep.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting my copy just to let everyone know. You know,
Yeah.
I always get copies, and I will also be making a review on my blog in reference
Oh,
to the book as well.
yeah.
You
I love
know,
it.
so that's how I support.
Yeah.
Additional to the interviews for whoever is willing to come through and stuff. But you know, authorship, like I tell everyone, it's an experience.
It
You
really is. There's no way to really describe. You know, it's so funny because on Facebook and on Instagram, you know, you can kind of fall off for 2 months and then you kind of come back on and everybody thinks, oh, you're still doing the same thing that you've been doing. And they don't really know if you went through anything or not. You know, people don't really air their dirty laundry on social media. So,
yeah.
but this particular thing, I literally had to kind of go off social media and like focus because there were parts of me that were broken and there were parts of me that needed to be fixed and there were parts of me that I needed to find, you know, and I
Mm,
did that. And I'm still searching. Like I'm still going to keep writing and keep trying to find those parts of myself and bringing all those broken pieces back together, you know, to try to live a happy and joyful life. So if you are in the business of wanting to, you know, work on yourself, write your story. Write your
I
story.
mean, that's how my healing process started. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even know that I was gearing en route for healing.
Right.
I had no idea. But until I was put in the position to have to write, I remember my very first story. And it was funny though. My very first story was a story about me becoming natural,
Mm,
um, and going through the process because it was causing so many health problems for me,
right.
you know? And that story alone, when I decided to write it, I didn't even think anything of it, but it
Mm.
was so deep. Like, oh my God. You know, it was about an image. It was about whether I was worthy and
Also, oh,
how I thought about myself, how people looked at me.
all of that.
And it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
When I was done with that story, I felt such a relief,
Yeah.
such a relief. But like you said, this is where social media detox becomes very important
Right.
for you
Right.
to be able to pull away.
Right.
Like it's a fact. You need to be able to pull away and be like, I need a break.
Right.
And to know it within your mind that it's okay.
Right. And that you're not missing anything. Everybody thinks
Exactly.
you're missing something. You know, you're not missing. Um, the other, with you talking about natural hair too, and just to kind of piggyback on that, like, you know, I came to New York in 2003 when we were still convincing people, hey, it's okay, you can cut your perm, it's okay. Like there was a whole convincing, and then to be able to sit there and kind of watch the emergence of the natural hair community just explode. And all of the issues surrounding that process that you just talked about, I remember, you know, people would get their hair done and then they would call back, girl, you think I can do this? I don't know. It was very emotional. And so I think that kind of began my journey. Before that, I just had a regular job and was just going about my way. But I think working in the salon with natural hair transition, that really helped me like hone in and understand the history behind what we go through, you know, the challenges of trying to be beautiful. Am I kidding? Okay. The challenges of trying to be beautiful, you know, in a world that, you know, does the opposite, you know, and, you know, is my man still gonna love me if I do a big chop? Am I gonna lose my family? Like it was, hey Shaquan, you know,
What's up, Shaquan?
that's
Yeah, I mean, all of that comes into play. Love, relationships, you know, marriage, all that. Like, can we still date? Like, you
Is
know,
it
my
gonna
hair's
grow? Is
nasty.
it gonna grow back?
You know, yeah, all that stuff. It's just like,
It's true. It's so true. Thank you.
it's just, and you know, when you get so many triggers, you get
Yeah.
so many
Yep.
triggers, you know, and it's unbelievable. Like I tell everyone, like it's if you're ready to write your story, go ahead and write it.
Yep.
But you got to be ready.
You got to be ready.
You got to be ready,
Well,
you
you know,
know.
it's funny you say that because when everything shut down, I sat in front of the computer and I think I wrote like maybe 2 pages of the story, but I didn't know it was the story back then. I was just kind of writing. And then I told my daughter, I'm going to write a novel. And then I wrote 2 pages and I was done, you know? So, you know, later, so it wasn't until Shaquan came with a challenge. I want to do this challenge. I think I can do 10 pages. I'm not sure if I even did 10 pages in the end, but I tried. But I got the story out. And so I think that made the difference is having a challenge. Sometimes when you're on your own and you're trying to write something on your own and you send it to a friend to read, or you know, it's not enough. Sometimes you have to have a challenge so that you will push
Hmm.
through. And so that's what I appreciate about this process. And that we weren't alone either. We had 8 other women. We get on our Zoom calls. Shaquan knows one particular time, you know, we were all talking and I was like, I wasn't on camera because I was working, but I was with in the back and I was like, is anybody
Hmm.
going through what I'm going through? Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
So, you know, they were very supportive. We prayed together, you know, and I can't wait. And I feel like I haven't met any of these ladies, but I can't wait to meet them because I know we're all going to be like fast friends because we
Yeah.
all went through something together. So now I can't wait to put the faces with the stories and we get together and really kind of share personalities. So I can't wait.
You do create community
Mm-hmm.
very, very fast and very well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm very good friends with many of my author friends that I've met on the journey, from each book, you know, and the connection is very significant
Yeah.
for each person. You
Right.
know, Shaquan and I connected through a women's organization, Grown Girl,
Uh-huh.
but we didn't participate in a book together. But the way we connected is that I remember like my story came out and they were supporting me. So
Uh-huh.
we ended up connected there. And then it's been history since then, you
Right.
know, so, and
Right.
it's been a long time.
Now when did your book come out?
My first book was Chocolate and Diamonds for the Women's Soul. That
Okay.
was the first anthology for women empowerment. We were
Nice.
commemorating March 8, International Women Month and Day. So basically, that was Becoming Natural. That was my first
Yeah.
story. And
Yeah.
then I continued on in 20 in 2017, I wrote my own anthology, which is Faces of
Okay.
Uterine Fibroids,
Oh
that
wow.
became the award-winning book,
Mm-hmm.
basically me telling my story about my fibroid situation, me telling my story about my long journey of agony and suffering and everything that I went through mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you know, you name it, health wise. is in that book. It's an anthology also, and other women shared their fibroid stories as well.
That's
So
really, yeah, that was really big. Like, I know years ago, it seemed like every time I turned around, somebody was telling that story.
yeah,
That was
that
a
that
really
was
big.
my biggest challenge. That was my
Mhm.
biggest challenge. Um, and that was my most sobbing story ever, you
Yeah,
know. But I see why I was put en route to make it happen,
absolutely.
and ever since then, like I've freed myself basically from doing that story,
Hmm.
putting it out there and making sure that the book is what it is today and everything. So it's been a journey, it's really been a journey. I I I love every journey that I've been on. They've been
Right,
significantly different, but they've each been very important to me,
right.
my life, and my growth, and everything. So
Yep,
yeah.
yep, yep. It's true. Well, I'm looking forward to writing more stories. I'm like, let's keep it going. I mean,
That's
I'd like it
good.
to be a little bit lighter in terms of the going through it, but I really enjoyed writing. I think I found a new piece.
Yes.
Yeah, a new peace of mind.
Well, when people ask me what got you into writing, it always comes down to releasing emotions.
Yeah.
I needed to heal, and it was a great opportunity for me to take that healing process and just write. And I realized that it helped me in the long run.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it really
Listen,
did.
I feel so much better. I cut off all my hair, girl. Okay. I had hair when we started, Shaquan. She's gonna laugh at that. I did. I had hair. And then as I went through the process, it just kept getting shorter and shorter until it was gone. Until it's been gone, until it was all gone. So oh, my a friend of mine just said something. She said Nicole's been writing for years, actually. She's right. Um
Yes,
I've been writing since I was 8 years old. And so
yes,
I know, see, Shaquan's laughing. I've been writing since I was 8 years old. I, I stopped writing stories around after my daughter was born. I started writing lyrics to songs and I became a songwriter. And so that's kind of how I found my way to New York. I've worked with a few people that have really been inspiring. And so, wanted to do the cool writing. So I was like, let me write songs. That's cool. And, I did it. It was fine. But when you come full circle as a writer, it's like you got to get back to the story. And
yes,
once I sat down and started writing the story, I realized that it came with so much ease. Like I didn't have to try hard. It just kind of came on out. And so I think that these were words that have just been backed up over the years, waiting to come out. And I
yes.
finally gave them a voice to come out. So I'm happy about that. But I do miss my songwriting, my young days of writing great lyrics. But
Thank you, Riri, for that comment. That's very important though, because the majority of authors, it's always like a journey of writing.
yeah,
Before 2015, I was always writing.
right.
Writing affirmations, writing in my journal, or writing about my day, writing
Right.
how I feel,
Right.
writing about things that I don't like. I was constantly writing, right? Um, but they were never published, basically. But once you get to that publishing route and you're like, okay, I am an author, writing becomes a whole different ballgame for you. Like it's a whole different thing. Like you're like, I'm in the industry now,
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I want to write
It's
more.
a different mindset. It's a different embrace. So yeah, definitely. I would say the majority of authors are experienced writers for sure.
Hold on for a second. My little. Uh,
Mhm.
okay. I had to plug in my phone.
I do have a very important comment which I want to highlight on
Sure.
here. It's a question. We
Mm-hmm.
have Dwayne Wayne. I'm saying Dwayne Wayne. Dwayne Hurt that actually stated, "Would you turn your book into a movie?" I think that would be a question more geared towards Shaquan, which is the
Right.
actual. a creator
Right.
of the book, but the idea, I would say, of turning a book into a movie,
Right.
that's
Well,
a really
I
good
mean,
thing.
in Tazaki Shargay, for Color Girls who considered Suicide When the Rainbow Was Enough, that was Tyler Perry turned that into a movie, and it was vignettes, of women's stories. You got the women of Brewster's Place by Gloria Naylor. You have all these women who have done these things. So I don't really feel like it would be unusual for her to take the book and to do something like that because, I mean, at this point there's so many ways to get that kind of product out. You got all of these Netflix and all of these different things, and you got YouTube if you just want to kind of do your own thing. So I don't think that that's unusual. That's all that's been done. So we need it,
Mhm.
and we haven't done it in a while, so why not?
Well, I love the fact that Dwayne Hurt came up with that because he's an actual movie producer and director.
Okay.
And so if anyone who's interested in creating a movie, by all means, he is the person that to speak to, and he's a very big supporter on the Martine Show. He's always present, and he also has a movie going on right now, which is
Okay.
called The Weekend. It's on Tubi TV, which is doing
Okay.
very, very well.
Okay.
So, by all
Congratulations.
means,
Mhm.
anyone who's interested in creating their own movie, please connect with Dwayne Hurt.
Wow. And
Okay.
and that's the beautiful thing about this process, and this is what I love about the unknown, kind of going into the unknown with Shaquan, is that because she's already published a book and she's a best-selling author, she's already gone through the different pathways that opened up for her. And so the main thing for me is I'm like, hey, well, let's see what pathways open up for all the rest of us ladies, because you
Exactly.
never know what direction God is going to send you in. So you just got to, stay prayed up, like you said, stay grounded, stay
Yes.
loving, and just be willing to share. So, hey, we'll see what happens. I be on here prophesying, girl.
Yes. Shakona says we need to have a conversation. I
Right. I
know
saw
that
that.
I know
I
I
saw
know
that.
that one is probably for me as well. Shakona
Yeah.
and I, when we go into talking, it takes off.
I believe it. I believe it. So yeah, it's no telling what direction this is all gonna go in. So I'm just gonna stay open. I'm just trying to get through Thursday, okay? When
I
my family
know.
start calling and going, "Oh, hey girl, you know what color was this? Them stairs wasn't charcoal gray. Them stairs was,
Yes. Yes.
So I just want to get through Thursday, and then after that, whatever path opens up, let's walk it.
I really encourage that each person on this live really takes it upon themselves to, if you're not an author, that is, to think about authorship, to think about bringing out your story, because it's not just you becoming an author, it's you going through a growth and elevation process.
It's a
It's
lot
really
like
what it
Michelle
is.
Obama. I can only imagine, and ours was only 10 pages each, which I feel like was enough
Uh-huh.
first round. But when I think about Michelle Obama writing her book, and the title I think is so fitting because I think that when you are, you know, um, not just writing but trying to become an author, you are becoming, because I feel like
Yes.
that is what has happened to me is the becoming that I've been waiting on came through me writing the story because I had to become. And so, that's the kind of thing that, this is all about. This is about you becoming. And I think you mentioned it earlier when you said to be kind of a whole and fulfilled. I feel like that's what's happened is I feel whole, I feel like, okay, this is my authentic self. God rubbed it down for me
Yes.
in the experience. He said, you're going to get
Yes.
more authentic. You're going to
It's
get more authentic. Right.
that perfect whole and complete feeling. I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff is real, you
Yes.
know. And the thing about being perfect whole and complete, it's something that you have to experience
Yeah.
before you can actually explain, you know.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you're there, because it's only people who's arrived there, who've reached that place, that who could identify with that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny because I've had so many friends, and I've added a couple of them to Shaquan so that they would know. But I've had so many friends come to me and be like, "I want to write my story. I want to write my story." And I'm saying to you, this was an exclusive. You can write your story. She's gonna have
Yeah,
another anthology. Trust me, I'm sure. So,
yeah.
there'll be plenty of opportunities for, people to connect and write their story and get published and, and then do their thing. So, whatever you want, you can have it. You really can. You just got to believe.
So now that you're on the writing route,
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, what else do you have in the basket for Nicole coming up? We know we have writing, we have authorship, definitely going to
Right.
continue. But as an esthetician, where do you
Oh,
see
God.
yourself moving?
Oh my goodness. And my clients are on here, so they're like, and I know you're gonna say you still doing my hair, right? Like that's what's really going on. Okay, they're like, but I still get an appointment. So, well, I have a skincare line. So I have a couple of people who are on here to use my products, and I'm an esthetician, so I do facials. I'm also a sister lock consultant. Don't tell anybody. No. I've been
Do you
doing
do
sister locks
Shaquan's
for,
hair?
yeah,
You do
huh?
Shaquan's hair? You do Shaquan's hair?
No, I haven't. I haven't got. She tried. Listen, Shaquan tried to come in and get some services. I was like, honey, your whole situation here with me writing this book has got me too tied up. So I'm gonna see Shaquan soon, and when I see her, she's gonna get that facial deluxe. Okay, but
Okay.
so it's business as usual. Nothing really changes for me right now. I'll still be seeing
Okay.
ladies every day. I'll still be doing my Black woman service. So nothing really changes unless something changes. So
I get it.
let's make some
You get
changes. No, I'm just playing.
you got April laughing up a storm. Oh my goodness.
Hey, April. I can't wait to read your story, and I can't wait to meet you.
Yes, quick announcement. Next Thursday on the Martine Show at 8 p.m. EST, we're going to have April Hicklin. She's going to be the next author for Rising Crowns of Glory. They're going to be sharing her part of her journey as an author coming through this Thursday at 8 p.m. So please come through so we could listen to April as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be good stuff because I've heard April talk in our group and very passionate person. She's gonna tell a great story. I already know.
Awesome. We do have a question from Kimberly.
Sure.
Kimberly is asking, how do you get started with writing your story?
A couple of ways. I had a prompt when I started to go back and write because I was kind of not sure, and so I kind of took this little workshop prompt, and the prompt was, write about a time where you wanted to die, and so then you write down that line, just one sentence, and then you're told throw that away and start writing. And
Hmm.
so what happened is, so I was like, oh, that time and then when he said throw it away, I said, oh, I can't use this. But once I got that out the way, it just all kind of came out. And I was like, okay, because that's really what is going on with this whole like existence. We're always dealing with life and death, life and death, life and death. And, we always look at death as something that is really, really bad. But there are lots of things that die in our life. Like, I feel like my old self died and I'm here with a new self. Like, so you have to be willing to go through those deep transformations with yourself because life is, without life, without death, there's really no life. It wouldn't make sense to us. We would just go on and on and on. But one thing about death is death always makes us consider what's important, consider what's valuable, consider what's meaningful. And if you can get to those things, that's what's powerful. So that's
You explained it so perfectly. You
thank
get
you.
you gave us healing 101. You gave us self-love 101, self-care. Okay. You gave us coaching 101. Okay. I'm still trying to find the esthetician part.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't answer that question, but I mean, my main thing about being an esthetician is the reason why I became one is because there's not a lot of estheticians out there for brown skin. Most estheticians,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really teach brown skin in the in the school. And so I was kind of, and I see my women, they come in, their hair is beautiful, they want to be beautiful all the way around. And so,
Yeah.
skin is just an extension of that. And so I just wanted to be able to give you a whole experience. You can come in, you can get your facial, you can get your hair done, we can wash all of that nonsense down the drain, and we can start over.
Riri is saying that you're Nicole Van Zant Morrison.
Ah! Well,
That's a
Riri,
dope combination, by the way. That's a very dope combination.
well,
I'm feeling that.
that's a huge compliment coming from her. Trust me, because she's a quite amazing person and has an amazing lineage. So she's an incredible woman. Um, Also, Riri, since she want to be all in the comments, okay? No, Riri's actually in my story, and
Oh,
yeah, I don't really use a lot of names, but she
okay.
is in my story because she is someone who saved my life.
Nice.
And I'll never forget that. And she drove to where I was and busted in the door and took me to the hospital, and that's how I got there. So, I always appreciate her. She saved my life as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
that's my girl. So I know she gonna call me after this. She gonna be like, "Girl, you put me in the book, girl."
This is sweet. I love it. I love it. Let me see if we have any more comments
Okay.
that we can highlight on. I want to take the time to say welcome to everybody. I see you guys here. I most likely didn't mention each person today, but trust and believe that we know that you are present.
Oh,
Everyone
absolutely.
is here. Um, Let me see what else. There was another comment that I want to make sure that I don't miss anything important. Oh, Kimberly stated, glad to support, looking forward to reading the book. She's inspired. So, Kimberly, we're looking forward for you to participate as becoming an author as well.
Kimberly asked me about how did I do this. So I have a feeling that Kimberly will be sitting here and I'll be in the comments, her and Riri a little bit later. Next time I'll be sitting there harassing them in the comment section.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So I want to take the time to thank you for such a great time that we spent together
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you. You're a
Thank you.
wonderful interviewer, by the way. So I
Oh, thank
thoroughly
you so
enjoyed it.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
Everybody make
so
sure you
much.
tune in to the Martine show. Is it every Thursday or is it just authors on Thursday?
No, it's anybody actually. We
Okay.
ended up doing the author section because you ladies are working. Anybody who's putting in work basically
Yeah.
comes to the show.
Yeah.
Men or women. It's
Okay.
open for all. It's all about celebrating people. It's all about healing.
Absolutely.
The basis of the show is self-love journey,
Mm-hmm.
um, self-awareness,
Okay.
self-development, and everything social. Everything that
Okay.
we discuss here is based from the guest.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wishing you well on your journey and with your interview series. I think it's great. I had a wonderful time. Very warm personality. Thank you so much. You made me feel so comfortable.
Thank you. I always make sure that we put out the environment first. Like we,
Mm-hmm.
come to the comfortability first, and then we get into the question process. Because a lot of times when people hear interview, they're like, "Oh my goodness," and I'm like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah. I kind
Just
of felt that way, but then I was like, but my daughter, she's my biggest cheerleader. She was like, "Come on, mama, put on some red lipstick, mama."
yeah. I always want it to be a regular conversation. I just tell people it's on air. That's all. Like regular phone conversation. We just chilling and we're on air. That's all.
Because that's how we do, girl. We got to do it our way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you please tell everyone where they can purchase your
Yes.
book?
Yes. So the book is Rising Crowns of Glory. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon Kindle. It is now also available. The paperback is also available, so you can go to Amazon and you can put it right there in your little cart, and you can pay for it and get it sent to you, and you will be having, you're gonna have first edition. Okay, that's first edition.
Okay.
Ain't no telling how many times it's gonna be published, right, Shaquan? or printed. So definitely hit up Amazon Kindle for your pre-order, and that will be available on Thursday. And you can also order your paperback on Amazon. And we can't wait for you to read our stories. We can't wait for the feedback and your stories being inspired out of our stories. It's all
Yeah.
love.
Kimberly has a question. It's tips on self-publishing.
Oh, you're gonna have
Well,
to go follow Shaquan, girl. I don't know nothing about that. You got to follow Shaquan Hoke if you're interested and you want to learn more about all of the different authors, and she has some books that are out also. She's a best-selling author. You can definitely go on Amazon and purchase her books as well, and you can follow her on IG, and you can follow her on Facebook as well as myself.
okay. So, anyone who's interested in gathering any more information referencing to writing or becoming an author for the time being, I will be also putting down Shaquan's website, which is beyondajob.net, when we do post the video. So you can connect with her through there, as well as her Instagram handle will be connected to this live as well. Okay.
Excellent.
And
Mm-hmm.
you'll also be able to connect with Miss Nicole Roche
Yes.
on Instagram.
Yep. Oh yeah, Shaquan said beyondthejob.net for more information.
Net.
I think on that. And then she also said, what did she? Oh, Thursday on Kindle and paperback on Thursday. That was.
Yes.
I just wanted to
Rising
say
Crowns of
that.
Glory makes its
Mm-hmm.
appearance on Kindle on Thursday with the paperback. Is that correct?
Absolutely right.
Okay. Okay. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Once again, thank you so much for sharing such intimate parts of you with us today.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
not
I
easy to
appreciate
talk.
you.
It's not easy to talk about your story. It's not easy to
No, it's
even
not.
like present yourself to the world. So I do congratulate you for doing so.
Oh, Shaquan just said a new call for authors is coming soon. So all those people interested, make sure you follow her on IG.
Yes, definitely. We'll definitely connect her handle on the live as well. So on that note, we're gonna say good night to
Alrighty.
each and every one of you guys. Thank you all for participating. The chat was very live at this point today, so I'm very glad that you all came through, and thank you all for the questions and all the engagement. And congrats to you again. So we'll talk, okay? Take care. Have a good one.
Everybody, take care. Bye bye.
Good night. All right, bye-bye.